Cool, man. All right, so all the content that we're gonna hear, do you mind hitting that door for me? Thanks, man. So all the content that you're gonna see here, as well as the content that was covered in the last training session, just so you guys know, it can be found on Facebook and YouTube, and I collect these because my goal is to give sales agents, those that want to improve, as well as those who are on my team, and access to the material and the information that I share, both on social media as well as here in person. And I would say the advantage of coming here early is that, you know, I'm only going to share with you guys information that has worked for me, and I've seen it work for top producers within our industry. And so I'm going to cover some questions from you guys based on what we learned on the last training session. But I wanted to cover one thing that, that sales script. If you guys didn't get a chance to get that sales script, just email me and I'll send it over to you. But the sales script was not only meant to open up the call so you can take control and then get their social or their date of birth. It's beyond that. Beyond that, meaning that you can use it in more ways than just get their social or their date of birth. You can actually use it to save yourself some time and make sure that the person you're about to engage a 45-minute call with is even within that cookie cutter shape. Does that make sense? So for example, if you got someone who is at 3.5, 30-year fix and they just refinanced like 2 years ago, and their bottom line, the main goal is to lower the rate in payment, I would still ask questions to them. Why? Is because they have an intention. And where I think a lot of us here at the table, and I did it too, the very first step or very first question was, hey, what's your goal? Right? And I've talked to a few of us already. It's like the reason why that's not effective is because if they do tell you and they reiterate themselves like, oh, I just want a lower rate, I'm at 3.5 right now, can you beat my rate? Because that would be a common response, right? And so you can only respond so many ways, right? You can an effective way is say, yeah, absolutely, I can help you. And then you go down this path, but they're still already programmed to say, okay, you got to be better than 3.5. And so instead of asking what's your goal, I'll use that opening script and just assume that I'm going to tell them what their goals are, right? And so case in point, I have a client who I did a redo for, and they happen to be an underwriter for Loan Depot. Go figure. And 2 years ago, I wrote their note at 3.25%. And that was a conventional, and that was a fixed. And this go around, we're booking him at 4.25 high balance, cash out. And he's an underwriter for Loan Depot. So not only is he somewhat plugged into the market, but he understands the game, right? And the reason why he's opting to do that, and his main goal was, I want a lower rate, right? That was his opening pitch is, hey, I can do cash out, pay off student loans and be called rate term. And I just want you to do the best to get me a lower rate. He's considering an ARM. And so after going over it, he ended up opting for the higher rate. But my message here is that they don't want the rate. They don't buy the rate. They don't buy the fees either. Where I think that I would say that the thing that's pushing you guys back, or pushing most back, I'm not saying you guys, pushing most salesmen back is the fear of selling rate and fees, right? I've had a situation where, an agent came up to me and they're like, hey, this pricing right here, I want to get the most lender credit. I have to pay all the fees. I just have to pay all the fees. What do you think I can get at this rate? And so I looked at it and I noticed that they had a large amount of hits at the bottom of their OB, right? And you want to look at those hits because those are the hits that give you the leverage that you need to sell, right? And so you'll get hit for it being a condo. You'll get hit for it being a 620 to 640 FICO. Right? Those are reasons why you have leverage. You'll get hit for cash out. You get hit for LTV. These are the reasons why they don't deserve the lowest rate. These are the reasons why they don't deserve the lowest or no cost loan. And I'm not saying they don't deserve it. Don't treat them like you're a bully or anything. But I'm saying watch what you're doing with your time. If you're spending most of your time focusing on how to give this 620 FICO a free loan at the bottom interest rate, you gotta ask yourself why. Why is your focus there? And so when I asked, I say, hey, well, why are we giving them why is he taking all these hits? And he said, oh, you know, he wants to pull about 30 grand cash out. So my question immediately was, well, what's the purpose for the cash out? The agent didn't even know. I don't know. And you have to really ask yourself, you got down to that position where all you're hearing is their goal, and then you're just taking it down and say, okay, let me go get that for you. All right, hey Daniel, or hey SM, can I get this? Because that's what he asked for. Without paying attention to the whole reason as to why they need it, right? The reason why they need that cash out is because they need breathing room. They need to stop choking on something, whether it's their expenses. And that's something that I think that we can all relate to, is that everyone in here has a set amount of income that they receive. And in our case, we're in sales, so we can actually kind of control that to a degree. But nonetheless, we have X amount that comes in, X amount that has to leave per month. And that have to leave per month, that X, is going towards expenses, it's going towards bills, it's going towards maintenance. Does that make sense? And at the end of the month, when all those expenses and all those bills are paid, we have X amount left. And that is the primary reason why most people call or do an online inquiry, is because they're unhappy with the X amount left. Does that make sense? So if you guys can really grasp that and understand that the reason why they're calling you is because they're unhappy with the X amount of money they have left after their expenses have been paid, now you have control of them. Now you can find the leverage and fuck the rate and fuck the fees. Does that make sense? I'm gonna cuss a lot in these meetings. Because one, I just came from the gym. Number two, I'm very passionate about sales. So if you can get past the cuss words and just listen to the content, you'll get what I'm saying, okay? So the main message that we're gonna cover here is that rate and fees is only an issue if you let it be an issue. And so, you know, you have a process, right? Every lead that you take, there's a process from hello to I'm gonna work up your proposal. And that should be the end of the phone call. It shouldn't be hello, proposal, pitch, want it or not on the same phone call. Break that up, break it up. There's no point in doing it one call. You're gonna make them feel like they're making a decision as an impulse buyer. You're gonna make them feel like they need to think about it. And then another reason is that you haven't had enough time yet to digest the information, to translate it in a way that they'll understand. Does that make sense? So they're gonna say that they want savings. Well, you know, you have a choice. You can reply back and say, okay, hey, Mac, I got an option for you. I'm gonna save you like $100. Sound good to you? I can do it for free. Or you can say, hey, Mac, I can free up some extra cash flow so now you can afford your kids' tuition and put an extra couple $1,000s in the bank. With that extra couple $1,000s in the bank, you can actually pay off this Chase card in which you mentioned that you paid $200 towards. Now I'm saving you $300 per month. That $300 per month will now do more than offset the cost of your increased child's tuition, child's daycare, increase or replenish the funds that you use to fix your broke down bucket, to fix your backyard, whatever. That's the reason why they buy. Make sense? If you can attach them to that emotion and present that first before you go over rate and fees will not be a problem. Because rate and fees should be the very last thing. They're gonna ask it up front, but that's just because that's the way they're wired. Consumers are wired by LendingTree, by media, by every single thing to want the absolute lowest. We're wired that way, right? We're gonna buy a computer, we're gonna buy a TV. First thing we do is go online, or at least I do. And then you wanna search like, okay, what's the reviews on this? How much is the cost here? Blah, blah, blah. We all do it. The same thing happens here with our clients. But it does not necessarily mean that they go for the lowest price. They want to, but they're actually still going through the application process and you're being interviewed of whether or not they're gonna use take their business to you. Does that make sense? Cool. So that script that I shared, you know, it's not only found on Facebook or YouTube, but there is an attachment that I will have as well, and it's been shared out by, you can email me after this and I'll send you the script. But it's not just to get the date of birth and social. Now, it's really to take control of the conversation up front so you can immediately find out what makes them tick. Because that's the information you'll need to get the date of birth and social. That's the information you'll need to make them continue their phone call with you, right? So some of this information may sound basic or sound, relative to what you're already doing right now. And it's gonna be more impactful and more effective to you if you're currently You know, when you go from the hello and you go right into numbers, you go right into the pitch without understanding the process of first finding out the emotion, the need, the tie, the benefit, right? That they're really talking about. In other words, when they tell you they want a lower rate, what they mean is they need breathing room. Okay, so if they say, you know, a good response, if you guys do find yourself asking right from the very beginning, what's your goal, and they say, oh, I just want a lower rate. You know, I got 3.25%. The perfect response is, perfect, I can help you, regardless. They could say, I got a 1.5 30-year fix, I want a lower rate. Perfect, I can help you. If I were to help you lower your rate and increase your and create some savings, what would you do with the savings? That is, I would say, is the most important question that you can ask right up front if you decide to ask what's your goal. So I'm not telling you to change your script. Do what works for you, right? I can tell you to do this until you're blue in the face, but you're going to do what you do. And if you're going to ask up front, in the very minimum, at least ask what they intend to do with that savings, and they'll tell you. You know, another question, instead of asking, you know, what's your goal, would be like, if I were to help you improve your term, what are the results that you need to see? And then they'll tell you, oh, I need to see $200 monthly payment savings. I need to get this lower interest rate. Don't let that affect you. Don't, you know, just in one ear out the other. Because when they say that's their only way of telling you, please don't book me, please don't take advantage of me, and help me. That's really what they mean, right? And so what we need to do as sales agents and pros is ask, okay, no worries, I can help you. What do you plan on doing with that savings? And that is going to be very impactful.